if I'm not progressing in the areas that I feel like I need to progress in, then that means I'm not respecting my time and I'm not respecting my intention.
What's up, guys? This is Exclusive Life. I'm Weston, Richey, my best friend, business partner, Hinckley over there. We want to talk about the raw truth of life. It's not always easy. It's not always hard, but we want to talk about it and we want to grow together. Christopher Hinckley.
Full name.
Yeah, we're going in today.
Okay, what's up?
What are you going through right now?
I'd say it's a growth period. I think I've said that to a few people. I call it a growth period now. I think back then I probably would have called it a trench because a lot of problems have come up in personal relationships, business, and everything in between over the last couple months that have been pretty testing on my patience, on my gratitude, my grace towards others, and it's just a big test to the areas I've asked to grow in. Right? We pray to God asking for all these solutions, and He gives us problems to solve, to learn and grow through them. And I think I'm in a phase of that right now in the best possible meaning, because it's not negative. So growth period. Well, financially we're not where we want to be, and we've had a pretty successful business for a while, but we've had a few things hold us back that were a little bit unforeseen in the last few months. And then relationship wise, I've been in my relationship for 3 years now with my girlfriend, and so there's big things moving, big changes happening, and we're growing together as people, which is hard and it's fun. Like it's awesome to see the growth. It's nice to think back and ask, am I really working on my relationship? And the answer is yes, but it's not always easy work. So I'm in a growth period, and I feel like last year was really it was physically focused. I was going for a physical challenge, and it's funny enough, my girlfriend right after that, I was kind of spinning out, and because we talk about in the previous episode getting on the podium, and then when you hop off, you kind of lose clarity, you lose your discipline and everything. That's kind of where I was at after my race. And Avery, my girlfriend, was like, well, why don't you just put your challenge on other things, like your faith, like our relationship, like your team, your business? And at first I was like, no, I need a physical challenge, honey. You don't understand how my brain works. But she actually did understand how my brain worked. It took a different frame of mind. And since then, I have put a focus on those things. And like I said, it's been tremendously humbling, as well as really exciting to know that, once we get through this wall or this ceiling we're pushing through right now, there's a lot of good things coming, because we're ready for them, or at least I feel like I'll be ready for them. And we're constantly trying to focus on that unshakable mindset. And we've really been tested on that the last few months. So that's kind of the phase of life I'm in right now. What about you?
No, I want to hold on before we get to me. I want to talk about that real quick. You consider yourself in a furnace a little bit right now, right?
Yeah.
How are you crawling out of the furnace in ways, right? Like physically, mentally, financially, we're not, in the worst place. We're not in the best place between all those three things, right? What are you doing right now to help your mindset go through those things?
For me personally, when I feel like I need some sort of clarity or I'm in that furnace, like we talk about, I need to place extreme discipline on my life. So if I'm not progressing in the areas that I feel like I need to progress in, then that means I'm not respecting my time and I'm not respecting my intention. So when I wake up in the morning, do I know what I'm supposed to be doing? And am I actually doing those things that I know I need to get done? And along that long list of things to get done, what are my priorities? And that's one thing that I haven't always respected, is the priorities in my life, because we always talk about if you were to have 30 days to live and you're going to die at the end of your 30 days, how would you be living your life? And I've started doing that with intention now every single day. So the things that are my priorities are God, family, and my relationships. So I need to make sure that those are a core focus of my daily life. So when I wake up, it's at a certain time. And I have my schedule built out so that if I fall off in the morning, it destroys all of my momentum for the rest of the day. And so that makes me respect my time because I have it set. I know I have a plan. I just have to execute. So for me, I have to put discipline into my life. That gives me a lot of clarity and that helps me grow. But I mean, we keep going back to Notion. That's literally what's allowed me to create the structure and respect my priorities as well as the things that need to get done in the business. because it's a hard balance and there is no balance.
So you expand my mind on all of that, right? But there's two things or one thing I want to talk about specifically. If you don't know how to be disciplined,
Yeah.
like you didn't just wake up and be disciplined, right?
Mm-hmm.
You had to evaluate specific people. You had to listen to specific things in order to trust the fact that those are good disciplined things in your life.
Yeah.
Would you agree?
Yeah. 100%.
So like I know you very
Yeah.
well, but like people don't know who you are, right?
Mm-hmm.
How did you trust those decision makings to become disciplined? You
I,
get what I'm saying? Like if I
yeah.
watch one thing, it's like, okay, I can't just go do this because you're like me. We're like, I can't trust this person's advice. I don't know if they're a good person.
Yeah.
How did you identify those disciplines?
I think it's trial and error. It's testing. Like that's how I operate as an engineer brain. So if I find something that I'm intrigued by and I think could add some sort of value to my life, I'll implement it for a couple weeks or a few days and be consistent with it enough to actually give it the full try. And then I'll evaluate, okay, did it create more efficiency in my life? Did it give me more clarity in my day to day? Did it give me the physical transformation I was looking for? Whatever the goal is inside of this thing I'm trying to add, did it actually help me execute on that? And so then I'll try it. And if it works, it works, and I'll keep it or I'll make it my own. And if it fails and it doesn't work for me, then I'll just take it out and continue to move on because the way I operate now is due to a lot of different people giving me advice, like you just said, and testing it. So, from books, from podcasts. And it's important that the people that advice is coming from are people that I look up to. So good morals, good values, good family. They haven't lost themselves in the pursuit of something greater. And so, we're talking about Ed Milet, Rob Dial, Andy Frisella, like all these guys that we look up to and listen to on a daily basis. And now more than any time before, I'm listening to like scripture and sermons in the morning, which is really helping me get my mind right, because that's the ultimate advice that I think I'm seeking and haven't really looked into. So I think for me, it's hard to create discipline if you've never been disciplined before, but there's a lot of information out there for different people on how to instill that in your life. But for me, it just comes back to setting intention, right? So like if you have things that you want to get done, get it done. That is discipline. And it carries over into the rest of your life. Like Tony Tavares had a really good speech on stage during the Linear 2024 kickoff. I think it was a quote from a different book, but is you don't have to find discipline. Discipline will find you, which means you don't just wake up one day and you're disciplined. You put action behind your intentions, and over time, you become disciplined in whatever it is you're focused on, right? And then once you understand that and you see the growth from it, you want to become more disciplined because it's by human nature. You see the positive impact it's added on your life and you want to do more. It's just like when you start cleaning up your room, you don't want to do it from the beginning, but you pick a little piece of trash up and you put it over here. You organize your clothes, you put them up on hangers, you make your bed, and then, hour and a half later, your whole room's cleaned, right? You built motivation as you took action, and you built discipline by doing that every single day. And then soon enough, it's just habit. You don't have to think about it. You don't have to put it on your task list. You just do it when you wake up in the morning. That's discipline.
Yeah, no, bro, you're speaking fire right now. To me specifically, I mean, everybody else, y'all are getting a cheat code right now. But I think there's the other aspect of the fuel after you've learned how to be disciplined is going, I'm gonna wake up and do the shit I don't want to do.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
that's where you become like what Tony Tavares' quote is like,
Yeah.
it finds you.
Yeah.
Right? Like I don't want to make my bed. I don't want to go to the gym today. I don't want to have that conversation with my relationship. I don't want to talk to my accountant. Right? These are things you got to do anyway, and that creates confidence with discipline.
Mm-hmm.
That's the unstoppable, unshakable word, right? It's like I can do anything because I'm doing the hard shit. If I can do the hard shit well, what's going to happen when I do the good stuff?
Yeah.
It's like, man, I'm going to 10x it because it's stuff you want to do. And so I think true discipline is taught from doing the things true discipline, I think, is just waking up, whatever's going on through your day and doing it anyway.
And Ed Milet says, do the hard things first. And I think we listened to that podcast, or you sent it to me a couple of years ago. And ever since that day, I've focused on, all right, when I wake up in the morning, I don't want to address this emotionally tied business issue inside of a text, but it's the hard thing I don't want to do, so I'm going to do it first. Or I don't want to get in and go through our finances and figure out how shitty we're doing right now. But it's the first thing I got to get clarity on so we can continue to grow and improve, right? So do the hard stuff first, and then everything else is downhill from there. You're building that momentum from the beginning. It's the hardest thing you're going to do that day, but from then on, you're like, I got this. I just did the hardest thing I had on my list today. Everything else is easy.
Facts. Facts.
So that's all I got to say.
That's all I gotta say about that.
So, Weston, now you know what I'm going through. What are you going through right now?
I'm going through pressure, Chris.
Pressure.
I think there's a lot of weight. And I think you are tied to this as well. I feel like sometimes the ceiling, right, is you're just pushing up, and God's created us to be so strong to hold the ceiling up, right? And there's all these other people underneath,
Yeah.
right? And it's like, man, I feel like I'm holding this whole thing by myself, and then all of a sudden I feel a little bit of pressure released, and then I look over and it's one of your hands, right? And I know you feel the same way when I'm over here, right? And so it's just holding this pressure, right? And it's just like consistent of, when are we going to have everybody stand up, and when are we going to push this roof into the floor? When are we going to go to the next chapter? When are we going to go, right? And it just constantly is lingering in my head, right? But then there's also not just people we work with. There's not just this. There's family that are standing here. There's friends. There's relationships. There's all these things underneath that we're responsible for. And I think it gets heavy, bro. It gets intense, right? And everybody's seeing an image that you're this way, or that we're this way, and that we're not allowed to mess up. We're not allowed to have mistakes. We're not allowed to do the certain things, while we're trying to hold one thing up with one hand and try to do all these things with the other hand. If we do that, we fail everything. It collapses on us.
Mm-hmm.
And so I feel like right now, with everything we have going on, and then personal life and business life, I'm so grateful, and I'm so blessed, because this is everything I've ever prayed for. This is everything you've prayed for. And It's like, man, I can't tie my shoes right now because we're holding all this up. And so, going through that and having this pedestal and different things, and people not happy with their time or the intention, it's like, how do you do everything? How do you make every person happy? How do you, build the business? How do you have a relationship? How do you get to the next level? And it's like, man, where am I at? I can't figure out when this ceiling is going to blow up and go to the next floor. And it's like, man, I just haven't figured it out, man. And that's where I'm at, is just, what do we have to do to get to the next level? And I'm not sure what God's testing me with, right? Because we pray for things, right? And we've had removals, right? We've had a lot of removals recently. And so it's like, what's the next thing?
I don't know what the next thing is. I can never answer that. But I can say that we got to trust. We got to trust his plan, and we got to trust that he's giving us pressure that he knows we can handle, so that when we get to that next floor and it's a little bit heavier, we can handle it.
See, that's the thing, is like, I'm not worried about the stress or the pressure. It's more so, how do you manage, right? Like, I'm in a position right now where I'm trying to manage relationships and people, where, I'm getting shot at over here in certain spaces where I'm like, y'all can see clearly that I have 900 things going on. Can I get some grace here? Because it's hard, because I feel like I've given a lot of people grace, but I feel like I haven't received it.
Yeah, I think,
like, how do you handle that situation?
I think the more you become that ideal version that God's looking for, the more you're going to have that. I don't think that ever goes away. And I think the more of that you get, the more it tells you you're on to something great. Because there's a lot of people listening to this, and this is your situation, where, maybe people get hurt, or they don't feel like expectations were set, or they want more of your time, your energy, and they're not getting enough because they see you doing all these things. That's always going to be there. And that's going to give you more clarity than anything, because you're going to see how people move without you pouring into them versus them pouring into you. And I think that's just how it works. And like, I don't have as much emotional pull that you do, because I don't deal with as many people on my phone. And that's because I don't put myself out there as much, which is not the best thing. But I will say, I'm most proud of you for doing that, because I've seen how it's grown you, how it's grown people around you, and the business that we built together. And I'm actually stepping into that myself now, or trying to put myself in that uncomfortable position, because I have that fear of success in a way where I'm worried that everyone's going to know about us one day and my phone's not going to stop going off.
Yeah, bro, I
That's
know.
my fear of success.
Well, I know it.
And knowing myself and how I poorly manage my relationships, I feel like now, you add more to that pie and it's too much to eat.
Well, that's the thing. Is like you look at that space for a second, right? And you're like, man, we're all open arms. We want to love on people. We're like, hey, man, you need anything, call me, or hey, do this, that, and the other. And it's like, well, what happens when you have, 1,000 phone calls?
Yeah.
What happens when people start going, oh, well, you said this and you didn't do this? Like, how do you freaking manage? And I guess that's just lowering your expectation. But it's like, this is also our pure heart and what we believe in. Like, how do you balance that art of, hey, I'm here, open arms for everyone, but as soon as you're not there for one person, you're getting shot at in a way. Like, how would you deal with that?
So what I've started to do, because I overcommit, maybe I think I overcommit. We both do the same thing. We overcommit to people because we have big hearts. And when we see people in need, we want to help and we offer that help. But what I started doing was offering the help, but in the same time, setting a realistic expectation for what my life is right now and what our business is doing. So if people are like, I'm really struggling with my podcast setup and I'm not really sure what type of equipment to get, is there any way you could help me? I say, yeah, I would love to help you. This is right up my alley. I can give you all the stuff so you're not purchasing two things at once and all this madness that people spend on setting up their podcasts. So yes, I can help. I will just let you know. We have 4 businesses we run. I have 16-hour days and a 3-year relationship to maintain. So at the same time, I want to help you. I need you to give me grace if I don't get back to you immediately because I have a lot of priorities that come before setting your podcast up. And while I love you and I want to help you, this is realistic.
This is where I'm at.
Yeah. And from the beginning saying that, I've noticed avoids a lot of pain and expectation later on because if I start it with, yeah, just give me a call, we'll hop on a Google Meet and I'll help you, just let me know what you need, that opens it up too much and makes it seem like your schedule's too free. I want people to understand that my schedule is sacred, my time is precious, and you can waste everything else except for my time. So if they understand that from the beginning and they also understand that the schedule's pretty much full, then they're gonna not be so upset whenever they call me or text me and I don't give them a solution immediately. They're not going to be upset if a couple days go by or if I say I'm going to do something and it doesn't get done on that day because I'm just trying to help. And if they want a service, then they can pay for our service because
I want to add one more thing in it,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
All those things you just mentioned, right?
Yeah.
And then also posting once a day on social media.
What?
All those things, 16-hour days, relationship,
Oh,
business.
yeah. Yeah.
Now add, I'm posting on your social media, branding, building.
Yeah.
Now what's the response?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, well, you had time to post on social media.
Yeah.
That's coming,
Yeah.
right? And it's like, dude, there's zero mistake there. I'm telling you, like I'm a person, and I haven't been as direct
Mm-hmm.
in spaces. Like I think that's a great dynamic of how you worded that and built that up and framed it.
Mm-hmm.
I think also people know how fucking busy we are.
They do, but they don't, right?
Everybody I talk to knows I'm very open. Like, hey, we run 72 businesses and I get 4,200 phone calls a day. Like, I definitely speak up on that.
Yeah, you say that. I guess for me, I'm not as verbal on like my day to day. So I think a lot of people think that I just kind of hang around here most often, which is fine. I'm cool with that. Like, I'll be the shark in the room.
That's
but
what I'm saying. Now you're about to add in social media is like, oh,
Yeah.
we can post, but he can't respond back. And that's going to be something that's
Yeah.
said. And it's like, okay, time out.
That'll-
That's what I'm saying. Like, when you're holding all this,
Yeah.
there's always a place for people to jab, bro. And
There
so
is.
stay tuned for that.
Jab me. I'm a brick, baby.
Brick, baby. So that's kind of what I'm holding on to, bro. And I'm just I'm hoping that the more I give grace, that I receive grace. And I don't know if that's a weird expectation to have. But that's where I'm at.
I think if you give grace, you're going to get the lesson.
Yeah, and I continue to give grace, right? It's
Yeah.
like, hey, I got to react and respond as if my older self would.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how I'm just taking a breath, right? But, that's also a lesson that I hope I can showcase inside of a conversation, or that person might then go, wait a minute, maybe I need to react, respond that way, or maybe I need to give grace.
Yeah.
Even though they're not giving me grace, maybe they learn that.
Yeah. Someone who's not giving me grace, I want to show them love so that when that happens, they feel stupid for the way they've moved. and that they learn for the next time this happens that they got to second guess their thoughts.
So, but yeah, whatever you're holding on to, let us know. We'd love to talk about it. We'd love to share how we feel and how we think, and we'll catch you on the next one.